Good evening, everyone. I haven't been here for a couple of weeks to do a live. I was away last week, but I wanted to come on tonight. I'm now trying to more frequently sort of go live when I find really interesting things in the news, or nutrition in the news, as I call it. And something jumped out to me in the last few days with regards to vitamin D and heart health. Now, considering we're having the most rubbish summer in the UK, if you live outside the UK and you've got heat, well, to be perfectly honest with you, lucky you, because in the UK, as most of you probably are watching this from the UK, we've had the most miserable, awful summer going. I love the sunlight, and I think we've really only had June where we could call it summer. So if most of you may know, but if you don't, we really only obtain sufficient vitamin D for our health, for the optimum levels that we need, through the impact of sunlight directly on our skin. And it has to be directly on the skin without suntan lotion to penetrate through the skin for the conversion into vitamin D3. Actually, within the body, it's a hormone, but it's known as vitamin D3 that's needed for a huge amount of functions in the body. At the very minimum, we need it for bone health, and we need vitamin D for immunity and for the protection against things like autoimmune conditions and just everyday immunity. Absolutely essential. But some interesting new research has come to light that was published recently, or the findings were published in a magazine that I used to buy and I haven't bought for a long time, called What Doctors Don't Tell You, which is really more of the natural approach to health, hence why doctors don't tell you, but really important studies that are done using more natural means and the impact on health. And they reported on a couple of studies, one coming out of Australia and the other one coming out of Finland, fairly recently, quite large scale studies for quite long periods of time, showing the importance of good levels of vitamin D through supplementation year round can make a massive difference. The studies show both on reducing the risk of a heart attack, bypass surgery, and a separate study was looking at reducing the risk of atrial fibrillation, which is one of the more common heart arrhythmias. And when the heart is not beating in rhythm, it can go on to cause potentially blood clots and things like strokes and also heart attacks. So just a little bit about these findings and what this actually means, and why I thought it was so timely to talk about it when we're not getting the sunlight here in the UK, and what it means with regards to supplementation for your own health. The study was done in Queensland over a 5-year period of over 21,000 Australians aged between 60 and 84. So a slightly older population, the ones that are more likely to experience a heart attack. And they conducted the study by giving the equivalent of 2,000 IU of vitamin D3 as a supplement, or the placebo. So the placebo means that the individuals do not know whether they're actually getting the vitamin D or not. Only those conducting the trial would know that. And they gave the individuals one or the other. They either had no vitamin D over a 5-year period as a supplement, or they got 2,000 IU equivalent a day, or 60,000 IU over the month, which seems like a huge amount. And the findings at the end of this 5-year period with 21,000 individuals in this slightly older age group found that it reduced the risk of a heart attack by about 20%. That's a significant amount. The authors of the study acknowledged that, bearing in mind that Australia is in the southern hemisphere and they get far more sunlight in the southern hemisphere, although older people are less likely to be in the sun than younger people, they feel that the results will be even more significant if it was conducted in the Northern Hemisphere. Now, this is where it's really important. In the UK, in the Northern Hemisphere, we do not get nearly enough sunshine, hence why we are told to take vitamin D certain times of the year, but I'll come back to that. So 20% reduction by taking 2,000 IUs of vitamin D3 on a daily basis, and it was done over a 5-year period. A separate study in Finland was looking at high-dose vitamin D supplementation and found that they did a study, a much smaller group, 2,500 people in Finland over the age of 60 years, over, I don't think I've got the time period for that, but the reduction in the risk of atrial fibrillation was 27 to 30% when they were taking sort of 1,600 to 3,200 IU of vitamin D3 a day. 3,200 seems quite high to me. I'm more comfortable in the 2,000 IU as a daily intake. Significant reductions in the risk of these heart health problems, significant heart health problems. Now, I feel the NHS advice is really outdated when it comes to vitamin D3. If you read the vitamin D guidance, it says that between March, early April to the end of September, the majority of people should be able to make the vitamin D all they need from sunlight on their skin. And quite frankly, in this country, I think that's highly unlikely. It's either too cold and you're covered up, even if the sun is shining. You know, if you take April, May this year, it was really, really cold. It's really cold now and it's August. You know, I'm going out in a jumper today. There's no sunlight. In the winter, we know the sun and the UVB rays are way too low in the sky to penetrate the skin. We're covered up anyway, it's cold, but the sun and the vitamin D, the UV rays are far too low to the sunlight to penetrate the skin for the conversion to vitamin D. So it's really important that you do supplement vitamin D all year round. If you live in the Northern Hemisphere, and particularly if you live here in the UK, I've always said taking 1,000 IU a day should be sufficient. This study is suggesting that there could be more benefit, maybe if you're in the older age group and you do not get sun exposure on the skin at all, then maybe taking 2,000 IU per day is where we need to be. I strongly recommend testing vitamin D. You can easily get a finger prick blood test. You get the results really quickly, and it will tell you what the amount of vitamin D in your blood measured as N mole per litre. The guide I aim for is to reach 100 N mole per litre. For me, that's the optimum level, which is going to protect for things like immunity, look after your bones. We now know help to protect heart as well. If you do it through the NHS, if you get to 50, they'd say it's adequate. Well, I'm not interested in adequate nutrition. I'm interested in optimal and safe nutrition. Always got to be safety in mind. So it's got to be 1,000 IU day in, day out, all year round, maybe taking slightly more, but I strongly recommend testing. And I think testing come September would be the perfect time to do it before we head into the winter. If we've had a good summer, you can look at where your levels of vitamin D are, if you've had a lot of sun exposure over the summer. But particularly this year when we haven't, just where are your vitamin D levels sitting before you head into the long winter when you're not going to get this exposure to sunlight on your skin to make vitamin D3 in the body. So testing, absolutely. Testing in September would be ideal. 1,000 IUs of vitamin D3 on a daily basis all year round would be brilliant. I love the sprays that go straight into the bloodstream from the cheek, brilliant. Maybe you might need 2,000 IU if you're in the slightly older category, or if your levels are not at that 100 marker, which I think is the optimum level. Hope you found that latest research really interesting, because I wasn't aware of the sort of links between heart health and vitamin D, but this is where we're learning, and certainly I'm learning all the time. So thank you for watching. Do let me know if there's anything else you're interested in. If you've watched this live on Facebook or catching up on my Facebook group, do be aware I've got my YouTube channel called Peyton Principles Natural Health. My videos are uploaded there. please subscribe to it. I'm trying to get subscriber numbers up, which is really helpful to me. And if you do subscribe, you'll always be notified of new videos when they go live. Have a great week, everyone. And next 3 days, if you're watching this live, we have sunshine on the way. Get those arms out in the sun. Don't feel you've got to whack on the suntan lotion straight away. You need a little bit of sun on your skin, not burning, but ever so slightly pink, but not burning. That's not good. Enjoy the sunshine when we get it. Take care, everyone.